A day to remember for the rest of your life. The Pro Football Hall of Fame is excited to present the Heart of a Hall of Famer program connected by Extreme Networks. With over 100 Hall of Famers participating, we have reached 47 states and countries all over the world, sharing the message that football is more than a game and can teach Americans important life values like commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty.
You have to make right decisions even when nobody's watching you.
Well, respect is not just given out. It's not handed out like a brochure. It's earned.
Today, you are presented with an opportunity to meet and learn from one of the greatest football players of all time. But more important than that, the chance to see that their Hall of Fame life wasn't given to them. They didn't roll out the bed great. They put the work in, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, in their communities. They made themselves a Hall of Famer on and off the field.
Your feet can't take you where your mind's never been.
Because you can make it, but it's just gonna take a little hard work and some effort and the drive and determination.
And today, you will learn you can do the same thing they did. You don't have to have a gold jacket or a bronze bust to make a difference in the lives of others. It's your decision whether you want to be a successful student, son, daughter, brother, or sister.
If attitudes are contagious, is your attitude worth catching?
It's integrity as well, because when you decide to pursue something and you don't quit, that says a lot about you.
Commitment to excellence. We can all aspire to be the best.
Welcome to a once-in-a-lifetime program, the Heart of a Hall of Famer program, connected by Extreme Networks.
And because of them, I still hear echoes from those sounds which glorify this game. I hear the cheers of the crowd as Thurman or Andre goes hurtling into the end zone, or as Bruce sacks yet another quarterback.
What can I say about this next dude? Squatty. Thurman Thomas. From the first day you sat in one Bills drive, I instantly knew how much passion you had for the game of football. You displayed leadership beyond leadership, tenacity beyond tenacity, and the will to never quit at any cost, regardless of the situation. Did you speak your mind? Yeah, you did. Sometimes when he shouldn't have. But I always knew one thing about Thurman. He believed in what he said, and he made you listen. Whether it be good or bad, he made me a better player.
And future Hall of Famers, Thurman Thomas. I don't know where I would have been without number 34 behind me.
Thurman Thomas, known to his teammates as Squatty, you are undoubtedly the most complete running back of our era. My life would be a little less bright if I didn't have you to laugh and joke with. P.S. I hid your helmet.
All right, and with that, we'd like to welcome students from West Senior High School in West Seneca, New York, for our latest installment of our Heart of a Hall of Famer program, featuring Hall of Famer Mr. Thurman Thomas. My name is Jack Pruser. I'm the Youth Education and Leadership Coordinator at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we're lucky enough to have Thurman here for our session program. Our mission at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to honor the greatest of the game, preserve its history, promote its values, is which this program's centerized around. and celebrate excellence together. The values we promote are commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty, which helped make Thurman not only a Hall of Fame player, but a Hall of Fame man. I'm excited that you get to hear these values that Thurman will touch on, both on and off the football field. However, before we get started, there's a few thank yous we'd like to dish out. First off, our folks at Extreme Networks for powering this program. Been one of the great sponsors of the Hall of Fame and a Hardware Hall of Fame program. I need to thank the teachers and administrations of West Seneca for allowing us to come in and talk to their students. And then the students tune in remotely via YouTube and Zoom. Couldn't do this program without them as well. No matter where you're watching, we ask that you share photos and videos from the program, anything you find inspirational on your social platforms, tagging us at profootballhof.com and using the hashtag HOFvalues, and we may reshare your posts and tag you as well. Truly one of the great players and great men on the field. We'd like to join you in welcoming Hall of Famer Thurman Thomas. Thank you, Thurman, obviously, for coming and being here. Couldn't do this program without you. We'll start off with the first question. Out of those Hall of Fame values I mentioned of integrity, commitment, courage, respect, and honesty, which one stands out to you the most?
Oh, man, I tell you what, I could probably sit here and answer every last one of them, but I don't know. I think for me, it's hard to put the into content of which one was more important. And I would probably say integrity. I never wanted to do anything to harm the game, to harm the game or harm another player or whatever. Back when I played, it was hit late and do whatever, but guys respected the way that you played out on the football field. Like Andre Reed, great wide receiver here. Andre used to go like full speed, like in warm-ups, like in walkthroughs. He would go full speed. But that was just him, creating and still having that craft in his mind. So he never cheated the game. And I think that goes to say with a lot of football players that have made it, and not only football, but basketball, baseball, and hockey. We can probably knock out the baseball a little bit because of some things that were going on then years ago. But the integrity of the game to me is where it's at. You don't want to, you don't want to be like caught like in Deflategate. Yeah. Or something like that. You don't want to be a part of that. You want, when I get a chance to stick it to the Patriots, I stick it to them, right? So you don't want to be like that. You want it to be a clean slate. I did what I had to do. I didn't cheat the game, or I didn't cheat myself, really, of not going out there and performing 100%. Like Andre said, it was good a lot, but it also was bad a lot too. And I think that came along with it. Like, okay, you're being tested right now, but can you get through it? And I was able to get through it. My teammates, you go to 4 Super Bowls, you're going to have to go through a lot, right? You're going to have to go through a lot, and and keeping that face of the franchise and keeping that face of the NFL, because at that time, we had a lot of popular players in the National Football League because we went to 4 Super Bowls. Bruce Smith, Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Kent Hull. We were pretty popular throughout not only football, but basketball, baseball, and hockey. Like, people knew who we were, even after every Super Bowl loss. And I think when guys come up to you and fans do, and they say, you know what? Hey, you guys didn't win it, man, but you guys had a heck of a year, and that's the way we feel. We went out and put everything out on the line to try to win one game. The thing about it, it's one game and you're done. Yep. One game and it's not like hockey or anything where the best 4 out of 7. You get one shot at this. You get one shot at it. And so for us to really, after all those 4 losses, come back and still respect the game, I think that was so important to not only myself, but all of us.
Oh, for sure. You mentioned some of the guys you played with, Andre, Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, both Hall of Famers. You look at that team and you guys look at it's a tough thing to overcome. And, integrity is a big thing. You guys have that camaraderie, that friendship to be able to do that's huge.
Right.
And to go back again and continue to try and compete, sometimes that can be deflating where, man, we didn't win this one. What are we going to do, But you had that persistence to come back and do that.
And I think the way that we came back every single year, because like you said, it was devastating. You lose the first one, you're like, okay, well, we got a good enough team to where we can go back, right? Same thing. So we go back, you lose two or whatever, and after about two, you go back again, and you're like, okay, so what could possibly go wrong in this one, right? It's the third one, right? Jim gets hurt. I think second quarter, we ended up with 9 turnovers. I mean, I can play West Seneca and still lose if we give away 9 turnovers. That's just the way it was. You can't turn the ball over 9 times and expect to win a football game, right? You couldn't do that in college and you couldn't do it in high school. So, but I think the guys that we had on our team were really, we were really close. A lot of different backgrounds, but most of us were kind of from the East Coast, kind of. So, and I think that kind of played into what type of team that Marv Levy and Bill Polian was building, like an East Coast team, a team that plays outside in the cold weather or whatever. Some parts of the country where it's cold weather. So, I'm from Houston. That path didn't follow my way. It just happened to just get drafted by the Buffalo Bills. But we had great guys that are still close today. We have a text going. It's a group chat, as they would call it. And it's probably about 10 years long. And we talk about everything from life to a certain game, did you see Josh Allen do this? I mean, it's everything. And it all comes back at the end of every text that we do. We always say, love you guys, good night, or whatever it might be. So, I mean, we just had a bunch of great guys that were, committed to try to bring in a championship here to Buffalo. Didn't get it done, but I tell you what, I just extended my family.
Oh yeah, sure. Buffalo is a big city. They have a diehard fan base. I'm sure you're well aware of it.
Oh yeah.
We'll go over to another question. Through your life, who would you say influenced you the most throughout your, I guess, growing up and then throughout your career?
Well, I think for me, it was my mom who passed away a year and a half ago. And growing up, single parent, and plus I was the only child too. So, and from what my aunts and my uncle tell me, I was a bad kid. So not bad in the sense that I would go out and do bad things, but bad around the house or whatever. Hitting my uncle and running behind my grandmother and say, I didn't do that, so, but, yeah, growing up, man, it was, but my mom was really, the backbone of why I wanted to, and it wasn't even professional football. It was professional baseball. I played baseball before I even touched the football when I grew up. The only reason I started playing football because my mom had got married and we moved to a new area, and the only sport that they didn't have was baseball. So I had to start playing football, and I think it worked out okay. But I was determined to be a baseball player. So, but she was there all the time. I lived around. I moved around. I stayed with my dad's side a lot after my mom and dad got divorced. So I was on their side a lot because that's what the schools that I wanted to attend. It was on that side of town. And so my mom allowed me to stay with my dad's brothers and sisters. And, I was born in 66. So I grew up with bands like the Isley Brothers, Earth, Wind, and Fire. You probably have no idea who I'm talking about right now. Do you? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, and they pretty much, they pretty much did everything. They looked out for me. But it was my mom telling me, hey, I might not be able to pick you up tonight, so make sure you do this, this, and that. And so even the chores that I had at home with my mom, I did them over with my dad's, over my uncles and my aunt's house. So, yeah, it was. But she was the one that really just, man, just to see her working. And I'm going to say, you know what? It wasn't about making it to the National Football League. It was about really at that point saying, can I even get a scholarship? Because if my mom and my stepdad, they couldn't afford it after they got married. I couldn't go to college, So I want my best alley to that was a scholarship. And one day my mom said, "Boy, you got something going for you." And I had no idea what she was talking about. I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna keep playing football." And so I did. I ended up getting a scholarship to Oklahoma State University, and yeah, went through some ups and downs at Oklahoma State. If you want me to talk about that.
Yeah, that's another question on here. I know you
Okay.
shared a backfield with.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, because this is part of my life of what happened. So I get a scholarship to Oklahoma State. I'm like number 6 in line. And by the 8th game, my coach says, "You're in," because the other guys aren't doing anything. And from my freshman year to my senior year, I was a starting tailback at Oklahoma State University. And so a couple of years go by, I'm in the run for the Heisman Trophy, which everybody knows what the Heisman Trophy is. And so going into that year, I hurt my knee, but I wanted to play. And in that freshman year, my junior year, there was a freshman on our team by the name of Barry Sanders. Anybody heard of him? Oh, look at, raise your hand if you heard of Barry Sanders, right? Yeah. So Barry Sanders was my backup at Oklahoma State University. I was a junior, he was a freshman, so I knew for at least for a year that my job was safe. I knew for a year. So so I ended up finishing my career at Oklahoma State and got drafted by the Bills here in 1988. In the 1988 year, the guy that replaced me ended up winning a Heisman Trophy, and his name was Barry Sanders. And so and then I get drafted here in Buffalo, and he's right up to Lake Erie. He's right up to Detroit. He gets drafted by the Lions, and still to this day, we're really good friends. We still talk a lot when we go back to the Hall of Fame.
That's awesome. With that, we'll open the questions here to our students here at West Seneca in front of us. Go ahead and raise your hand if you'd like to ask Mr. Thomas a question. Go in the corner there.
I figured we go right over to the corner over there. Yeah. My favorite NFL moment was probably being in Canton and being inducted to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, when you talk about our guys that are in the Hall of Fame, I mean, it can't be about winning the Super Bowl because we never did it, right? So the next best thing is be among one of the greatest athletes to ever play in the National Football, which is kind of to me a really unique honor because it symbolizes what you did individually and how you got there. I mean, it was hard work for me getting to where I got. Seriously, hard work. I mean, it was. I don't think I'd put myself through it again, but in order for me to get to where I want to get, I would do it again. But the ups and downs in life, football, what have you, yeah, they're there, and they've made me who I am today. And I've been living here since 2007. I've been here for half of my life. I've been here for almost 29 years here in the city of Buffalo, and I love it. I love the people here. Glad we got one of the best quarterbacks. Well, let me take that back. I'm glad we got the MVP of the league on our team. I mean, it's awesome to be a Buffalo Bill, but this has become my I wouldn't say my second home. I'm saying this has almost become my first home right here in Buffalo, New York, because I love the people. It's just where I belong because I grew up outside of Houston in a small town. I went to Oklahoma State, which was a small town, and I continued that journey here to Buffalo, which is a small town. And everybody knows each other. And that's the kind of community that I came from growing up. Everybody knew, I had people that were down the street. If my mom or aunt and uncle gave them the okay to spank me back then, they would. So, it's been that way, and I absolutely love it here. Got 3 out of my 5 grandkids here, so yeah, I love this place.
That's awesome. Buffalo being the second home. We have any other students that'd like to ask a question? Go in the back there.
That isn't in the Hall of Fame that I think should be. Well, there's a whole bunch of them, and most of them are running backs. No, But yeah, I think it's one guy that in particular, I don't know if it'll happen or not. On my side, well, actually, there's two guys. Kent Hall, who was our center here for a number of years, passed away some years ago, and just a great center who actually really made our offense go. And probably Steve Tasker. When you have the mention of greatest special teams ever behind your name, I mean you've done something right. You've done something right, and I think he's a guy who's been overlooked. And Marv Levy and all those guys have always said, like, it's a third of the game. It still counts. Offense, defense, special teams. And these guys ever look at that. Sound like a coach or something? Yeah. Offense, defense, special teams. And Marv Levy always said to us, he said, you can score a touchdown on offense, defense, and no, your emotions will be high. But if you score on an interception or a punt return or a kickoff return, it's turned up 10 times more because it changes like the entire complex of the game. Like anybody can throw for an 80-yard touchdown. I mean, how exciting is that, right? But you see a guy return a punt for 100 yards, just like the guy, oh God, I can't remember his name, the punt returner for the Bills, number 20, Naeem Hines, returned that kickoff after what happened to DeMar Hamlin the week before, the first play of the game. I mean, come on. That changed the entire complex of the entire game. If he doesn't score that touchdown, it could be, I think we'll still win, but I think it might have been a little bit tougher for us or whatever. But that kick changed the entire game. And then he did it again in the same game. So, yeah.
I think, yeah, you
Good
mentioned
question.
Steve Tasker, special teams, like you said, it's overlooked, and it's a big momentum swing when fumble on a kickoff return or a kickoff return itself. It changes the game.
He blocked. I mean, we were all really like excited. Like Tasker is like, especially if they put like on a block, all the guys on the sideline would be like, they'll be up watching because there's a really good chance that on this play that's going to be called, he's going to block the punt or something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a very good chance of that. And so, yeah, I thought he was special. And I mean, he got one of the few guys that got the MVP of the Pro Bowl. Actually, when the Pro Bowl was the Pro Bowl, way back when. So, yeah, I think Steve Tasker definitely deserves at least more recognition for what he achieved as a football player.
Definitely. Well, we got schools tuned in remote here, so we'll go to one of them here. They want to go ahead and ask their question.
We got a couple hands raised here if you want to.
Yep. We'll go ahead and ask. Feel free to go ahead and ask one.
Okay. Lydia, why don't you go ahead?
What made your life? How did your life make you? Like, if you changed something, would you still be the same?
She said,
repeat that, man.
I'll give you the version. Is there anything in your life, like a defining moment, what made you Thurman Thomas?
What made me Thurman Thomas? Oh, man.
Tough one.
That is a tough one. I would say what made me, and it wasn't even like a play or anything. I think what made me was back in 1989, after my first year in the National Football League. My girlfriend, my wife now, we had our first baby. And I had my kid at the age of 22. And that changed pretty much everything. Pretty much everything of how I was living my life, how I was doing certain things. I mean, I had a baby girl, Olivia. And yeah, that was kind of like the moment because I had to, as a young 22-year-old, made it to the National Football League and became kind of someone, I guess, famous or whatever, and kept my head on straight. And, come this April, we'll be married 30 years. So yeah, but I think that was the start of it. And obviously there are some things like I kind of wish I would have changed in between, but I think at that moment, it was like I got a daughter. Then after a year, I got two daughters, so and then 5 years later, I got three daughters, right? And so then I finally had my son, So I think kids change you. It did for me.
Yeah.
It did for me because I grew up as an only child, and now all of a sudden, I'm 28 years old and I got four kids, and it changes everything for you. It changes your life. And so, but I've had a remarkable life. I mean, I can't say that I would change anything because of the path that I was on and the path that I stayed on. And if I had to do it again, I don't know what I would change. I don't know what I would change because I've had such an incredible life at the age of 58 that if I had to do it again, I would probably go the same path. It'll probably hit me after I'm over driving home, like, oh, if I would have said that, it probably will. So
I think well said, like you mentioned, your kids, that's a big factor in your life. And, the things that happen define who we are, as a person. And that defines who you are as Thurman Thomas.
Right. And I think with that, now I have a wife, have kids, like, I got to keep working harder. I got to keep working harder because I want my kids to see, what I'm doing, how I'm living my life. Even today, I still do the same chores that my mom gave me when I was little. Keeping the kitchen clean, make sure everything is vacuumed and wiped down, making sure all the toilet seats or everything, the toilet stools are clean and everything. Those are my chores. But you go on in life and you see with your kids, I'm like 3 out of my 4 kids do the same thing that I do. They do the same thing I do at their house.
Yeah.
I got one that, and it's happened to be the boy. He just hasn't got it yet, But my 3 girls, oh my God, they do the same thing that I did growing up and probably do a little bit more. And so as a parent, you're like, you know what? You kind of pat yourself on the back because you and your wife have done a really good job of raising your kids the way that you were raised, and now they're taking that and moving on. I mean, I got 5 grandkids now, and so so life is good. Life is good.
For sure. Well, we'll tune over to Mesopotamia Elementary School. They have a question ready for you, Thurman.
Right.
Go ahead, James.
This is a two-part.
Jace.
This is a two-part question. Have you ever hurdled over anyone, and how do you think teamwork teaches you about life?
Ever hurdled over anybody? I haven't hurdled over anybody since 11th grade when I ran the hurdles. No,
you're not going out there hurdling anybody right now.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not now, and I didn't back then either. So I am not hurling anybody. I am, but I think I could have did the Saquon Barkley over the. I think I could have did that. I think I could have did that because I practiced that a lot.
Yeah, you did it in practice before it was.
Yeah, I
popular.
had done it before, and so anyway, yeah. But what was the other question?
Said, how did teamwork kind of impact your career? You mentioned earlier, touched on the camaraderie of your Bills teammates, but just the emphasis of teamwork and how it was important throughout your career.
Well, I mean, I got a part of that yesterday. How important it is. I was out raking the leaves by myself yesterday. And I was like, man, I need a teammate so bad right now. So bad right now. And within 5 minutes, my son comes out. So now we got 2. So we're ramped up. Yeah, we're ramped up instead of me just handling the whole thing. And so I think the teamwork has helped me. It's still like in my blood today. Like throughout my career, I probably was late to a meeting once, and my teammates were probably late to a meeting maybe once or twice. Like everything was scheduled. We had guys who were legit, that were going to be on time, that were going to be doing everything freaking right. And so we built that as a team. Like I trusted Jim, I trusted Bruce, I trusted everybody. And I think that teamwork that you have, it gets stronger, the bonder that you have, the longer that you're with a certain group of guys, you can bond that teamwork and it can be absolutely amazing. Amazing.
Absolutely. And I mean, to touch on, the students in this room attending and via Zoom, we're all on a team in some aspect, whether it's your family. I mean, we got athletes in here today, enjoy those times that you get to share with your teammates, because you could be like Thurman raking the leaves and, man, you need to call somebody off the bench to come help you out. All right. We got another question here from our YouTube, Douglas Taylor Elementary in Chicago. They wanted to ask you, Thurman, if you could have a conversation with 6th grade Thurman Thomas down here, what would you tell young Thurman?
What would I tell young Thurman? I would probably tell young Thurman, play quarterback, because that's where all the money's at. No. Seriously, no. You know what? I would tell young Thurman, just dream big, but also have the in-between and the small dreams come true too, because the small ones can take you to the medium and the medium can take you to the bigger ones. If you don't attain that big one yet, I think you can do that. And that's the kind of way that I did my life, because you know what? I knew I wasn't always going to play football. I didn't even know if I was going to make it. I had a backup plan. I had uncles, my dad, my stepdad. I was ready to drive. 18-wheelers, Greyhound. That was going to be my next job that I had. That was going to be it, because everybody in my family did it. So always have that backup plan if that big dream don't come. But even if that big dream don't come, whatever dream it is, make it big. Make it big. Make it big. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Dream big, hit for the fences. And I think with society today, with social media, you can get there. You can get there a lot quicker than I did when I was growing up. Certainly can, with all the social media aspects and all the apps and all that stuff. So, but just dream big. Like right now, like my big dream was Super Bowl, Hall of Fame. But like my big dream, like now, to be sitting like on a 125-acre farm. That's my big dream. That's my next big dream. We want to build a compound with all the family and all the grandkids and everybody like that. That's my next dream. Probably will be my last, but it will be my next big dream. And that's what I'm shooting for. Here in Buffalo, I own a construction company here in the Buffalo area, energy company involved with 2 tech companies. So I've continued to dream big, and I'm going to hit it one of these days.
I think that's a great message, especially, I bet 6th grade Thurman would appreciate that message, and our students today, I'm sure they'll take that and continue to dream big. We do have Jerry Shockey on our team here at the Hall of Fame over in the museum in front of a special artifact here to show you guys a little part of the Hall of Fame.
All right, Jack, thank you very much. Thurman, thank you for your time here today. You've done this program a few times with us, so we always appreciate your support with the Youth Education Leadership Department. And so, again, my name is Jerry Shockey. I'm the Senior Director of Youth Education Leadership here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I just want to, for all the students that are tuned in, those that are in the live audience there in front of Jack and Thurman, those students that are connected in, that are interacting, Dake and Mesopotamia, and then those students that are tuned in over YouTube Live. I just want to put things in perspective for you guys real quick about how big of an honor it is to be able to talk to one of the greatest ever. And when I say one of the greatest ever, we're talking the tip of the iceberg greatest ever. So think about this just for a second, students. Since the game of football has been played over the past 100 plus years, okay, at all levels, there have been 300 plus million that have played the game. If we take that a step further to the collegiate level, there have been about 5 million that have played at the collegiate level. At the professional level in the NFL, there have been close to about 30,000 players, coaches, and contributors that have been paid to play, coach, officiate the game of football. but there are only 382 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So just think about those numbers just for a second. That's who you have the opportunity to listen to today and glean wisdom from through his experiences and what he's been through so that you can learn and maybe apply some of those things or maybe avoid some of the missteps that he may have made in his life to help you take the next step in your life. And so one of the questions we always like to ask here, because we are with your bronze bust here, the class of 2007. But when you walk around this gallery, Thurman, I know you've had time. You've been here before. A lot of times when there's a lot of fans here, but times when there aren't really any fans here as well. And so, when you walk through here and you look around at all this greatness around you, the first word that comes to mind for me is legacy. And so, can you define for students what legacy means to you and what you want your legacy to be? Because you have different phases in life where your legacy might be as a great football player in high school or something like that, or a Hall of Fame or whatever. But now, at this phase of your life, and just looking back at everything, what do you want your legacy to be as far as your professional and personal life?
Wow. I think my legacy, I've thought about this a lot, and because you hit past the 50 mark, you start thinking about stuff like this. I think I want my legacy to be that, you know what, at Thurman Thomas, he was a good guy. He was a good guy. And that's the one thing that I continue to teach to my kids, is that because somebody's going to not like you for one reason or another, but you can still be a good guy to that person, right? You still be a good guy to that person. And that's the kind of what I want my legacy to be. Yeah. Because you can always look up the football knowledge of it. Oh, he did this and he played in this team or whatever. But will you remember more than anything, was he a good guy or was he a bad guy? And I want to be remembered as a good guy. That's why I don't mind coming to visit. Because my mom told me years ago before she passed that she said, when it's over, it's over. When it's over, it's over. You won't be able to shake that hand anymore. You won't be able to sign that autograph anymore. So do it now. Sure, it may take up a little bit more of your time. So what? 15, 20 minutes? I got time. I got time. I understand it. I understand where I'm coming from and I understand where I'm going. Is just be good. Just be a good person. And it's not always easy, but I try to work on it every single day. Like, you're not gonna make me blow this horn, even though you're sitting at the light for the last 10 seconds. You're not gonna make me blow this horn. Just gonna go, right? So those are the type of things that I work on when I'm out, like the horn or somebody blowing at you or whatever it may be, And I just try to it's all right, they'll go by and I'll be like, hey, how you doing? Just be a good person. And I think because of my kids and because I still live here, I want to have a presence here when I'm gone. I want people to say, that Thurman guy, he was a good dude. He was a good dude. And that's kind of how I do it with the guys at the Hall of Fame. I make sure I try to shake every single one of those hands, hug or whatever, meet their family. That's just me. So yeah, just being a good guy.
Yeah, I absolutely. What an impactful message. And I think what was important is you said, almost daily, you try and do something good. You try and be that good person and not honking at the horn, opening the door for somebody.
Right.
Those are simple, small things that you could do, that make an impact. And, somebody could be going through a bad day and say, hey, how are you doing? Nice to meet you. Like that type of thing. And it could, change their life. And you never know.
And Jack, if I can add something in here, students, I want you to hear what Thurman just said. I mean, he said, trying day to day to be known as that. So when you start thinking about your legacy, when you start thinking about that, you want to be known as a good person. That future outlook that you have of yourself, that starts changing how you live your here and now. Because if you want to be known as a good person, that means you have to live like that day to day. And that's what you heard Thurman talk about is his day to day. That's why his day to day, he shakes hands, he hugs people. Now, I will say, Thurman, if you did get stuck driving behind me, though, just ask the fellows there, Jake, Jack, and Nathan that are there. You might get a little bit more upset because they accuse me of driving like an 80-year-old man. But anyhow, if you want your patience tested, just drive behind me. So thank you, Thurman. Thank you to the students. And I'll quit interrupting. I'll send it back to you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Jerry. Thurman, we're running out of little time here, so we'll kind of start to wrap up here a bit. We'll go to some rapid fire questions.
Okay,
So
rapid fire.
we'll go quick here.
You can do that.
Best football movie?
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans. Good. What was your game day snack or pregame meal go to?
1 o'clock game, salad and apples.
Okay.
Late game would be chicken sandwich.
Okay. Least favorite stadium to play in?
Least favorite stadium to play in. I would probably say the old New England Patriots Stadium, Sullivan Stadium. It was a beep. Yeah, it was bad. Yeah.
If you could play any other position other than running back, what would it be and why?
I would play, asking that question like that, it would be shortstop in baseball.
Okay.
And I think I still play the running back position in football. Yeah. But if I had to choose another position, probably free safety.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, free safety.
What is your favorite candy, or if you're a chocolate guy, chocolate or candy?
Oh, Snickers all day.
Okay. Good pick. Cats or dogs? Or both?
How'd you bring this question up? We just put down our. Yeah, I know, right? And we just put down our 7th dog a couple of days ago. So, and we've never had a cat. So, yeah, dogs.
Okay. Go-to karaoke song?
Go-to karaoke song? Last one I did was Gin and Juice.
Okay.
That was a good go-to song there. Yeah, it was a good go-to song.
Beach vacation or mountain getaway?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go beach vacation.
Do a little beach football?
Not so much football.
Yeah.
No, just kind of walking up and down, maybe fishing.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm a fish guy, so I like to fish. So it would definitely be ocean.
Are you a morning person or night owl?
I'm a morning person.
Yeah.
Morning person.
Okay. If you had to eat one food the rest of your life, what is it going to be?
It would probably be my wife's spaghetti. It's called $1 Million Spaghetti.
Okay. All right. And I think one important question that we always like to ask and end on, if you could give kids in the room, kids tuning in, and anybody else watching, what is one piece of life advice that you could give to them now?
One piece of advice that I can give the kids here, the older kids and the younger kids. You know what? Enjoy life. Enjoy life. That's pretty much it. Every bad situation, yeah, it's going to come up, but just enjoy life more than anything. You can walk away from decisions, walk away from anything, and not let that person or that thing mess up your day. So enjoy life. Obviously, take it one day at a time, but enjoy life. If you want to go to Spain, go to Spain. If you want to travel the world, travel the world. Go do it. Go do it. I would say enjoy life because like I said, I'm 58 years old. I got 8 kids and 5 grandkids. And this is probably the happiest I've ever been in a long time because of that. You know, and so I get to travel to Charlotte because that's where my oldest daughter lives with 2 grandkids. So I get to see Charlotte. And I'm the type of guy too, like wherever I get somewhere, give me a car. I'm gonna go fill the tank up. I'm gonna start riding, checking things out. You know, maybe run into a Bills fan, which happens all the time in Charlotte. So yeah, and so I just enjoy life every single day. There's some ups and downs that you go through, but hey, 24 hours a day, probably try to enjoy at least 20 of them, you know, or 16, because I'm usually sleep about 6 or 7. So yeah, enjoy the hours while you're alive.
I think that is a perfect way to wrap up this installment of the Heart of Hall of Famer series with class of 2007 member Thurman Thomas. We'd like to thank you guys for being a part of the program. Thank you to our sponsors, Extreme Networks. Let's give Mr. Thurman Thomas one more round of applause here.
Thank you. And let's give him a round of applause. Jack, right? Let's give Jack a round of applause because this is his first interview. Nice job.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Thurman. We'll see you guys on the next program.
Hey, yo, we
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Bye.